If you've ever gotten whiplash from the futures, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today, we wrap up the holiday shortened week. As a reminder, the market is closed for Good Friday tomorrow, so today is our last trading session, and it won't be without some action after President Trump's speech last night, potentially escalating the conflict in the Middle East. So futures are under pressure today. We've got a lot to go through. We have an all access today. And of course, we're going to trade all of those movers as well. We're going to get you all set here for your final day of the week. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for April 2nd, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope that you had a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. I know I did. Hit another parlay on hockey, and that is setting me up for this weekend for the tournament games and the golf tournament. So it should be fun. But we've got one more market day here before we get to the weekend, the extended weekend, and we got red arrows all across the board. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Big Hurt first here again today. Got out of SKYQ too early. Looks like a little scalp there. I understand how you feel as it ran to 6 and you're out at 3. I just want to keep the glass half full, Brent. At least you got out with a profit. At least you got out with a profit. You might also get another opportunity. It's actually pulled back to its fair value gap here. The bottom of the fair value gap lines up with the VWAP, so you might get some support right around here. We shall see. Nonetheless, congrats on being first. Good morning. Welcome back. I hope that your Friday so far is going well. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning to the Benzie gang and to you, Zach. It's great to have you. Big Dave, good morning. In Sky Q at 351, out at 531. Done for the day. Big Dave, I'm sorry to lose you before we start here, but I am extremely happy that your day is over so early with profits. Maybe you can start your weekend a little bit earlier. Good morning, Big Dave. Ethan, good morning. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Producer's locked in and ready to go. Appreciate you, producer. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Carlos, it's great to see you as always. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Brian says, Mets baseball, some Tilray products. Lol, is that the drink, the beverage, the THC beverage? Some fishing and good barbecue on deck for the weekend here. I gotta be honest with you, that sounds like a pretty good Easter weekend, Bri. Aside from the Mets baseball, but that's subjective. Anyway, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you have a good day sending you off into the weekend. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Marionette, it's great to see you as well. Good evening to you. Astro Kev, good morning. Welcome back. Corey, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Great to see you, all of you. Maverick, good morning. To the moon, quite literally, right? Quite literally. At least the first part of that launch yesterday went well. Exciting stuff. I actually have a story about that, but we're gonna keep you posted on all of that. I like this comment. I like this comment, Mav. To the moon, quite literally today, actually. Pot G, good morning from good morning from Belgium. Good morning to us, but good afternoon, I believe, to you. Mike, good morning. Made some bank on SKYQ. Mike, I'm gonna start off with a register ring. I absolutely love it. Way to start your day with profits. I would say let that money stay in your pocket. If you're going to continue to trade, just make sure that you can't go red on the day, and you'll have a pretty good Thursday. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Marty, good morning. Welcome back. JJ, good morning. Welcome back. Reggie, good morning. Welcome back. Appreciate you. And I appreciate this. We're going to highlight this comment because I appreciate it so much. Good morning. Hit the like button. It is a small investment indeed, and it does actually help us. I know you're probably like, you ask me every day, blah, blah, blah. It does help. It really does help. So listen to Reggie here. Reggie's got it going on. Joe, good morning. Welcome back. Jesse, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Gabriel, good morning. welcome. Linda, welcome back. It's great to see you. Graf, welcome back. It's good to see you again as well. Mo, good to see you. Looks like you also hit SkyQ. Boy, SkyQ getting the group paid here before we even start. By the way, we are bouncing off the fair value gap. Giddy up, SkyQ. It's been the trader here this morning. Robot to trade, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, S&P futures under significant pressure here for the last day of the trading week. As a reminder, the market is closed in observance of Good Friday tomorrow, so today is our last trading day. S&P futures down 1.63%, Dow futures down 1.45%, and the NASDAQ leading the way lower, minus 2.07%. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some cues from last session here. We go. Communication services, industrials, and material sectors led the advance on Wednesday, whereas financials, consumer staples, and energy stocks were the only laggards. Go back up here. All right. U.S. stocks dropped on Thursday, which is the last trading day of the week as the market will be closed for Good Friday. Futures of the major benchmark indices were lower after President Trump's address to update the ongoing U.S.-Israel war with Iran. Trump's address skipped words like ceasefire or de-escalation as he reiterated the points he made in his last two social media posts over the last 2 weeks. He threatened to hit Iran's electric plants and warned of relentless military strikes on Iran for another, quote, 2 to 3 weeks, end quote. That triggered an advance in crude oil prices. Also, the spread between Brent and WTI very tight. Economist Peter Schiff noted a broad market sell-off across stocks, bonds, and cryptocurrency as the president re-escalated the war with Iran, pointing out the stark contrast between the extended military action and the president's claims of a historic victory. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.37%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.84%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show markets pricing in a 97.4% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged in the April meeting. Now, we have several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one here is going to be Micron. All right, so Micron Technology, ticker MU, dropped 4.3% in the pre-market on Thursday following Wednesday's rally as it announced the expiration of the cash tender offers for any and all, certain outstanding senior notes. The next stock on our list is International Business Machines, or IBM, which declined by 0.22%, and also ARM Holdings, ticker ARM, which fell 3.11%, despite both companies announcing a partnership to develop dual architecture hardware. The next stock on our list here is going to be Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is ticker LMT, and it was up 0.41% after its Orion spacecraft launched 4 astronauts on NASA's historic Artemis II moon mission for the first time in 53 years. The next stock on our list is going to be General Motors, and the ticker on this one is GM. It was 1.71% lower after it said it plans to invest $150 million in the Saginaw plant for next-gen V8 engines. That gets me excited there. The last stock on our list is going to be Target Hospitality. Ticker is TH, and it tumbled 0.079% despite securing a $550 million data center contract in Texas, raising its preliminary fiscal year 26 sales guidance. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart here, and I am so glad that I have been saying over the past couple of days that what we could really get is a move back up towards the 200 and a potential rollover. Now, there's no way to accurately predict exactly what Trump's going to do, so you just kind of have to be prepared for that. And guess what? We got the action that I had been warning about. Now, some caveats on this. First of all, we did not actually print the 20 or the 200. We got very close. We got within 2 points of the 200, and we got within less than a point of the 20-day, but we didn't actually touch them. Nonetheless, if we look at the daily chart here on the SPY, we had this rollover that caught a 2-day bounce. All right. That brought us back up to some of these moving averages. And now with the reaction to the speech last night, futures are rolling over here. We're actually currently at the pre-market low. So it looked like we made a low of about 65.25 on the S&P futures earlier today. We tried to bounce and trade back up towards 65.50. Couldn't get above it, couldn't hold it. Now we've rolled over and set new lows here in the pre-market. So whiplash all around on the futures here. And really, as far as the key levels go, we already know what they are. It's definitely going to be this trend line. And for today, I have this at about 651. We're also going to be looking at this low down here. I'm going to get you the exact value on this candle, 629.28. If you want to call that 630, that makes a lot of sense. We're going to be watching to see if this area here breaks. If it does, remember 628.06 is the 10% pullback level from the all-time highs. While we're expecting some type of correction, a 10% correction would be fairly garden variety, frankly. But if we pull back a little bit more, we might see anywhere between 10 and 15%. That takes us down to about 605-ish or 600. Ish. Actually, I think the 15% level is down at 580 something, something of that nature. So in any case, we look to retest the 10% pullback level. Where we settle anywhere between 10 and 15%, if that is the case, we'll see. But these are some of the areas that we're watching here. It's also worth noting we have a previous all-time high breakout level that has acted as support at 612.81, so maybe 613-ish. We'll see if that provides any support against the backdrop of everything that's going on here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts and then roll through some more of the news here. Oh, we're going to get this. Story to cooperate here. All right, here we go. According to senior global market strategist Scott Wren, the 2026 outlook for the U.S. remains optimistic despite recent geopolitical and credit market volatility. Wren asserts that his base case remains above average economic growth in the U.S. and record earnings for the S&P 500. However, this positive forecast is currently being tested by frictions, such as the military action in Iran and rising anxiety over private credit. Wren notes that sudden events can effectively throw statistical modeling out the window, leading to a 2.1% dip in the S&P 500 last week. To navigate this, he emphasizes the necessity of portfolio diversification and rebalancing. Using a gardening metaphor, Wren explains that, as a gardener might do, a long-term investor diversifies a portfolio to survive unexpected storms. He specifically suggests that investors prune their allocations by rotating funds out of the energy sector, which may be currently overweight, and reallocating towards favorite sectors like financials, industrials, and utilities to stay aligned with the long-term financial goals. So this is good. This is very much akin to what we have been saying here on this show about raising cash, trimming some of your winners, be prepared for another down move. Sounds like that's exactly what Scott is also saying. As far as upcoming economic data, initial jobless claims for the week ending March 28th and February's U.S. trade deficit data will be released by 8:30. On Friday, while the markets are closed, March's U.S. employment report, unemployment rate, and hourly wages year-over-year data will be out by 8:30. We will not be on the air to cover that, so you'll have to use Benzinga Pro to get that information yourself. March's S&P final U.S. services PMI will also be released by 9:45. Okay, first story here, a feel-good one about the moon mission that was set underway yesterday. I know we've talked a lot about some of the space plays here, which has been great. The space plays have been great to our group. We definitely think there's more to come here. This mission is basically, the kickoff to something really great in terms of kind of reinvigorating space exploration. Investor Ross Gerber of Gerber Kawasaki has hailed NASA's Artemis program to the moon, drawing parallels between it and the Apollo missions from the 60s and 70s. In a post on the social media platform X on Wednesday, the investor hailed the launch of the Artemis 2 mission, drawing parallels with the Apollo program. Quote, the original Apollo mission to the moon cost the U.S. $25 billion over 13 years, end quote. Gerber added that the adjusted cost for inflation in 2026, the cost would translate to over $300 billion. Quote, the current Artemis mission has spent $93 billion, end quote. And sharing that it is an exciting time for spaceflight, the investor also wished the Artemis 2 crew good luck. And that's something else that I would like to pass along here on behalf of the group. We, of course, wish the best for the Artemis 2 crew and for a safe arrival back to Earth, as well as completing their mission on the flyby around the moon. It remains unclear where the investor got the $300 billion figure from. However, when referencing the original $25 billion figure with data from the U.S. Consumer Price Index, which is maintained by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, an actual amount, when adjusted for inflation in 2026, would translate to roughly $184 billion. When calculated from 1961, when the program's first flight took place on October 27th from Cape Canaveral in Florida with the Saturn Apollo 1, the figure would translate to approximately $273 billion. NASA successfully launched Artemis 2 from Florida's Kennedy Space Center at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time, sending 4 astronauts on a 10-day trip around the moon that would serve as a crucial test flight for future missions. The crew comprises 4 members, with NASA astronauts Commander Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, joined by Canadian Space Agency's Jeremy Hansen. The launch was hailed by President Trump as a historic moment for the U.S. Quote, we are winning in space, on Earth, and everywhere in between, economically, militarily, and now beyond the stars, end quote. That was said in a post on the social media platform Truth Social. In line with the Artemis program, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman, has chartered out a return to the lunar surface for the U.S. before the end of Trump's second term at the White House. NASA had earlier also revealed a revised lunar roadmap that involves establishing a permanent presence on the moon. So again, very, very exciting stuff. I'm glad phase 1, if you will, is already done. At this point now, I hope that the mission is just a smashing success, and safety of these 3 American astronauts and the 1 Canadian astronaut is paramount for the rest of this. So I'm excited from this. I'm sure we're going to see more plays from this. As mentioned, it was Lockheed Martin's Orion capsule that sat atop this rocket and everything. So prayers to all of the astronauts involved. Now, talk a little bit about Micron and some of the other memory names. These had actually made some pretty significant pullbacks and then bounces. And so it's up to us now to figure out what's next here. Jim Cramer says that Micron Technology and other memory rivals are sitting on a gold mine amid the AI storage. Let me know if that's news to you folks. I don't think that's news. I think we already knew that. CNBC's Jim Cramer expressed skepticism over the latest market bounce, noting that the narrow rally is being heavily propped up by data center memory stocks capitalizing on artificial intelligence storage shortage. Despite the major indices posting modest gains, Cramer warned investors that the advance lacks broad, dependable leadership. Instead, the market's heavy lifting is being done by the big 4 of memory and storage. Those 4 are Micron, ticker MU, Western Digital, ticker WDC, SanDisk, ticker SNDK. Those were 3 of the SPY leaders yesterday, by the way, and Seagate Technology, ticker STX. As artificial intelligence requires unprecedented amounts of data to function, the demand for digital storage has skyrocketed. Cramer noted that memory was historically a, quote, bad business, end quote, plagued by low margins and commoditization. Today, however, the data center boom has transformed the landscape, and these tech companies are now sitting on a gold mine. Now, it's important to note here that things can change awfully quick like this. And this is one of the reasons that as active investors, we read through the news. We try and talk about it and draw conclusions from that news. Because when we get these quick pivots, the quicker you are to pivot with it in the direction of the trend, ultimately, the better off it is for you. Unfortunately for consumers, the industry was caught flat-footed by the sudden surge. While Micron is attempting to add capacity at scale, the company remains completely sold out in the near term. Cramer predicts that until new types of storage architecture can be implemented around 2028 or 2029, these stocks will likely continue to soar higher simply because they can raise prices on limited supply. Beyond memory, the rally is being supported by other highly specific data center plays, fiber optic companies like Lumentum Holdings, ticker LITE, and Coherent Group, ticker COHR, which Cramer referred to as data center plumbing, and are climbing, aided by a $2 billion investment from NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. Furthermore, Intel, ticker INTC, demonstrated a rock-solid balance sheet by repurchasing its Irish facility. That's one of the reasons we saw that trade up yesterday. Yet, Cramer finds this tech-heavy concentration deeply disappointing, describing the market's overall leadership as narrow, 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 unquote. As an advocate for growth stocks, Cramer lamented that this current market move is being led by commodity sellers that are just out of stock, rather than genuine innovators like NVIDIA that are actively producing and selling highly desired products. Cementing his skepticism was the sudden appearance of the gold miner Newmont Corp, ticker NEM, it's one of Lion's favorites, on the top of the gainers list, an event Cramer ultimately dubbed a, quote, classic letdown, end quote. Micron has advanced 28.88% year to date, outpacing the NASDAQ, which fell 6% during the same period. It was higher by 101.96% in the last 6 months and 314.67% over the last year. These memory stocks aren't going anywhere, that's for sure. And we're expecting to see a lot more volatility as this continues here. Also was listening to another gentleman this morning on CNBC who, like we've done a number of times here, tried to compare the AI cycle to a baseball game and said, we aren't even in the early innings. We're still in batting practice. Just gives you an idea of how much longer some of this run can go and how it can affect some of these stocks. Now, the next story here, this is an interesting one, and this one stood out to me because we've had this discussion quite a bit. A lot of these stocks we trade regularly. A lot of these stocks actually make for really good trading vehicles as well. But OpenAI's COO says, quote, be long on legacy software, end quote, as it could benefit from AI. Let's dive into this because we've talked about this quite a bit. OpenAI's chief operating officer, Brad Lightcap, said legacy software companies could emerge as major beneficiaries of AI rather than casualties, describing it as a, quote, contrarian opinion, end quote, amid the ongoing public software sell-off. Quote, if you're long AI and long startups, then it might even make sense as a contrarian opinion to be long legacy software too, end quote. Lightcap said that on Wednesday on an episode of Uncapped with the Jack Altman podcast. Lightcap, who joined OpenAI in 2018 as the chief financial officer before becoming the chief operations officer, said legacy companies restarting with AI have a head start. Quote, you've got the benefit of existing teams, end quote. Legacy customers' relationships and the ability to learn faster than someone starting from scratch. That makes sense. Lightcap's comments follow a sharp sell-off of software stocks, dubbed the software apocalypse or the SaaS apocalypse, which began in early February after investors grew concerned over Anthropic's Claude large language model. He also noted that global software penetration is still around 1%, calling AI-driven monetization of outdated systems, such as hospitals and power grids, one of the greatest gifts to the world. Now, one of the interesting things here is that 4 of the stocks that are listed in this article that are being hailed as legacy software companies include things like Microsoft, ticker MSFT, Snow, ticker SNOW, Salesforce, ticker CRM, and ServiceNow, ticker NOW. All of those stocks have provided great trades in the past, and they're not going anywhere, it seems. And in fact, this gentleman, who is in the heart of the AI trade, is saying, these actually might be good longs. The comments come amid growing skepticism over legacy software's future. Billionaire Mark Cuban declared, quote, software is dead, end quote, in a February podcast, arguing AI will replace static tools with customized models. Some analysts have similarly warned that beaten down software stocks may not be a buying opportunity, but the early stages of structural AI-driven demand suppression. So let me know where you fall on this. I'm well aware that AI is, the big driving catalyst here for tech. It's produced the most outsized gains in some of the tech names that we trade. But what do you think about some of these legacy AI companies? Cam saying any legacy AI companies in particular? Yes, it was the 4 that I just named: Microsoft, Snow, ServiceNow, and CRM, which is Salesforce. Those are the 4 listed in the article. And in fact, while I'm here, we might as well paste this article into the chat for you. That way you can have that and have that list. Okay. So let me know what you think on this. Do you like some of these legacy AI names? Do you prefer the hyperscalers? Do you prefer some of the newer tech? Seems to me that there's still going to be opportunities out there and not just some of those new players. Now, the next story here, this is going to be, again, about Tesla and Rivian here. This is about Rivian's sales decline. We'll take a look at this here. Sales of Rivian Automotive, ticker RIVN, fell consecutively for 4 months in the U.S. as the electric automaker gears up to launch the awaited R2 crossover SUV. Rivian sales fell during the first quarter by over 26.5% year over year as the company sold 8,141 vehicles in Q1 2026 compared to the 11,070 units it delivered last year, according to a report by Electric Vehicles on Wednesday. During March, Rivian sold 2,925 units, an almost 1,000 unit decline from the 3,910 units it sold in March of 2025. Rivian sold over 2,516 units in January and over 2,700 vehicles in February, with the report saying that the EV maker's sales dropped to a new 3-year low. Sales decline began in December of last year. The news comes as Rivian's R2 crossover SUV aims to provide a sales boost for the company. Rivian currently offers the R1S and R1T in its lineup, which are premium vehicles priced above $70,000. So just stopping right there, I guess my first question to any Rivian bulls or long side traders here: do you think that there's maybe kind of like a wait for the new model effect going on here that might result in some of those delivery numbers shrinking as we get closer and closer to the launch of that new vehicle? I suppose you could make that case. To me, I still think that electric vehicles are kind of a niche thing, and Rivian absolutely fits into that. One of the things that we've talked about when we've talked about the stock is that the car might be cool, the idea might be cool, but is it like, are they actually making money? And we've talked about Rivian burning $1 billion a quarter in a lot of cases. So some of these investments into Rivian kind of met with mixed reactions. Now, according to Rivian's guidance for 2026 deliveries, the automaker expects anywhere from 62,000 to 67,000 total vehicles. Out of that figure, the company expects to sell 20,000 to 25,000 R2 vehicles. The R2 standard trim, which will arrive next year, will command the price of $48,490. The company also signed a $1.25 billion deal with Uber Technologies, ticker UBER, which will see the ride-hailing platform invest in the automaker through 2031. That should help. aiming to deploy several thousand R2 robotaxis across multiple cities by 2031. The automaker also unveiled its universal hands-free assisted driving system, which the company says can drive on over 3.5 million miles of roads across the US and Canada, where lanes are clearly marked. Rivian will take on Tesla's full self-driving system with its own LiDAR and camera-based approach to autonomous driving, sharing that the R2 would be fitted with LiDAR tech. So let me know, are you still bullish on Rivian? Do the delivery numbers maybe kind of throw you off a little bit? What do you think needs to happen here for this to be successful? To me, this is definitely a risky bet. You know, it's hard. This is definitely hard to trade. There are days where we get this, where it moves around and it might be a great vehicle. But over the long term, I don't know. Maybe it's just my own personal bias towards electric vehicles. Seems a little bit difficult. But let me know from the group what you think about all of this and whether or not you think it's great. Now, the next story here, producer, we should even make a poll about this. This is about Lion, but regarding Rivian, I'll believe it when I see it. Lion, this is a really good summation. I probably should have just thrown this in there myself. This is a really good summation of where I fall on the whole Rivian thing. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not necessarily going to fight it, if you will, but I definitely... Well, I have no problem waiting and seeing if this is actually going to be successful or not. Anyway, thank you, Lion, for the answer there. This next story here, I definitely want to do a poll about this, producer. How many of you are actually interested in a folding phone? Don't give me the bull and the bear case. We know all of that already. What is the actual level of interest in a folding phone that becomes basically a tablet when unfolded? It costs more, the potential to break is higher, but maybe some of the technology is better. And obviously screen size, which is one of the big things with some of these devices. That's huge too. Let me know if this is a mover here for you. I'm someone that is, I use my phone for everything. I love technology and all of that. But for me, I'm not necessarily like chomping at the bit to get a folding phone. Like I'm okay with the Galaxy phone. That's just it's the Ultra, so it's the big one, but I really don't need it to fold. It fits my hand well, it fits in my pocket well, and it does everything that I need it to do. So I'm just kind of curious here. Let me go over some of the earlier reactions here. The Goods says 0 interest. Graf says, I got one. Graf, I'd love to know what you think of that. I'd love like your actual opinion on that and some feedback on it. Gabby says, I own one, works wonders for trading and work. See, I can see how that's the case, right? You can probably do more work on the bigger screen. You don't even need to talk to me about trading. The more screen real estate you have when trading, the better. So that makes total sense there. But that's interesting feedback. Linda says she'd love one. I guess Linda, why? Jesse says he's mildly interested. Tracy says no interest at all. Videos watch online says nope, it breaks and starts to wear out and come apart. Positive Trader says yes, would love a decent folding phone to make the overall size smaller for putting in my pant pocket. Reggie says the screen fails. Theme says I get a tablet if I want something bigger than a phone. This is exactly what I was hoping from the group. You guys are just absolutely crushing it right now. This is why I want to do a poll question. Let's get some data around this, producer. And if you want to add in other options, I'm not against it, but let's really kind of focus on, do you want this? Is this something that is a big mover? Because I think for the purpose of stocks, if this is a huge market, and it's going to be a more expensive device, presumably with higher margins, this could actually be great for some of these companies, Samsung, Apple, anyone else that makes one of these. Appreciate the rundown there. Let's get that poll up and gather some more. Counterpoint Research said North America's foldable smartphone market is growing quickly and rising competition at Apple expects entry to reshape the industry. The firm reported on Thursday that the North American foldable smartphone market expanded 28% year over year in 2025, making it one of the fastest growing regions globally. There's our first piece of data. Growing consumer awareness and improved accessibility drove demand as more OEMs introduced devices across the clamshell and book type segments. The firm said the market has evolved beyond Samsung Electronics. Ticker on that, by the way, is SSNLF, and indeed it is an OTC stock. The longstanding dominance into a more competitive, multi-layered landscape driven by stronger carrier support and wider product availability. Samsung remains the clear leader, capturing 51% of North America's foldable smartphone shipments last year. Easy for me to say. However, intensifying competition has begun to chip away at that share. The company continues to dominate the book style segment, but its clamshell Galaxy Z Flip is facing mounting pressure from Motorola. That challenge could deepen as Motorola prepares to launch its book style Razr Fold this summer, setting up a more direct showdown with Samsung in both form factors. Meanwhile, Motorola and Alphabet, ticker GOOGL, Google reached record market share of 44% and 5% respectively in 2025, signaling a rapidly shifting competitive balance. Previously, Counterpoint said Apple is already influencing the market ahead of its foldable launch and projected it could capture 46% of the North American market share in 2026. The firm attributed this positioning to Apple's ecosystem and large screen software capabilities, prompting rivals to shift towards larger book-style foldables and refine their designs. Counterpoint expects the foldable market to grow 20% year over year in 2026, but said Apple's entry could determine how that growth is distributed. While foldables account for just 1.6% of total smartphone shipments, OEMs are increasingly focusing on the segment to capture higher margin opportunities. And this is exactly what I was talking about, because if this cohort is only 1.6% of total smartphone shipments, then the TAM here is huge. And if any one of these companies absolutely puts out a banger product that's able to raise some of the percentages for folks that want a foldable phone, there could be a lot happening here. And they mentioned Samsung, Motorola, and Apple in this story. I think Apple's probably the most obvious one because that's one of the biggest and most popular smartphone makers in this country, especially. And so if they're able to execute on a big, long-lasting foldable smartphone, feel like that could really help Apple's stock price as well. And that's not even mentioning any potential AI capabilities that might be folded into this or possible because of it. So just food for thought there. Really curious to see what you folks think about all of that. Okay. Next story here. This is going to be about Robinhood. Vlad Tenev pushed hard early, proving Robinhood could build meaningful products, and it now chases this goal. So I know Robinhood has been another one of those stocks that has just been an incredible outperformer. It's pulled back, and you folks have asked about this when we talked to other traders and chartists about, is this a good buy? There's even other sympathy plays like Webull and all of that might be kind of sympathy on this. But I know Robinhood, one of the stalwarts here, and so I'm curious to see what you folks think on a possible Robinhood long now that we have a bit of a pullback. Vlad Tenev, the CEO of Robinhood Markets, ticker HOOD, expressed his belief in a more inclusive financial system on Wednesday, highlighting the shift in his focus from what should be created to what deserves to exist. Tenev reflected on his career journey in an X post, and he noted that while his early career was about proving the ability to build something meaningful, the focus has since shifted. I think this is normal, by the way, for successful CEOs. Quote, the question became less about whether we could create and more about what deserves to exist. That has pushed me towards a bigger view of access and ownership, end quote. Tenev batted for a more inclusive financial system where the best tools, opportunities, and networks are not, quote, concentrated in a small world, end quote. Goes on to say that belief has only gotten stronger as Robinhood has grown. Founded in 2013, Robinhood has grown to be one of the leading retail brokerage firms, enabling individual investors to trade stocks, bonds, and cryptocurrencies. And one more thing about Robinhood that definitely deserves to be mentioned. Its ease of access, its newcomer on the scene, its ability to bring in younger folks into the world of investing. In my opinion, I know that there's, some hiccups along the way. There was the terrible story about a young guy that was trading options that saw a balance he didn't think he was going to be able to get rid of. And I know there's some negative stuff there, but I really and truly believe that the overall impact of this is going to be a net positive. The more people think about finance, their financial future, and the more people want to take hold of that by doing things that are smart and helpful over the long term, the better it's going to be for everyone. I've said it a million times. I'll continue to say it. There's nobody in the world that cares more about your money than you. And so taking an active role in trying to manage and grow that, paramount. And it's going to make everyone's life better. Robinhood is valued at over $63 billion. Last year, its revenue reached a record $4.5 billion, which is reflecting a 52% year-over-year growth. Earlier this month, Tenev teased Harmonic AI, a new AI system that aims to independently solve advanced mathematical problems. He has also shown optimism about the prediction markets business. So, curious to know, do you have kind of a longer term view here on Robinhood? Is this something that you're interested in? Let me know. Let me know what you think about that. What about the platinum card? The gold card is the big one there, right? The card that's literally covered in gold. That's the big one there at Robinhood. 3% cash back on anything, says Mr. Dunham. That's actually pretty good. I think I still prefer the Costco rewards program to the Robinhood one, but I mean, 3% cash back on anything is nothing to turn your nose up at. That's for sure. Okay. Let's see. How much time do we? Oh, we are so good on time. We are so good on time. Okay, let's go back to Pro here. I do want to quickly do a street tweet. Then we can take a look at some of the stocks that you folks want to take a look at before we bring on 13 for the pre-market pulse. So let's go ahead and take care of our street tweets segment. All right, this one comes as no surprise. This is from the Kobisi letter, and this is highlighting the Brent crude oil price officially surging above $110 per barrel. So really, the thought here is that how much more room do oil stocks have to the upside? I know we've talked about the correlation here between oil and the broader market. When oil goes up, the broader market's going to go down, so on and so forth. But what do you think about oil stocks now? This was an excellent call by many folks in this group early on in the conflict. I know some of you that took long approaches on this, or long dated approaches, I should say, to the long side on some of these oil stocks benefited nicely from that. Even some of those short-term positions ended up being pretty good. But let me know what you think here about oil stocks as far as what's the next trade. Are you looking to go long and catch more of a run here in oil? Are you looking for a potential top and a potential pullback? I mean, hell, we've seen the market go in both directions quite often. It seems to flip on a dime there. So let me know, folks, what you think. What is the next direction of that oil trade? What is the next direction of that oil trade? Okay. Let's go back here. Let's go back to Pro. And let's take a look at some of the charts that you folks want to take a look at. I guess one of the things that we can start off with here is Robinhood. We just talked about some of the news there on Robinhood. It's definitely one of the more followed stocks amongst our group. One of the other reasons why I wanted to bring this up is because for the longest time, we had identified 72 as being an extremely key level for Robinhood. We've actually broken beneath that now. So now that we've lost 72, we did find some support at the 500-day, which was down there in a 63 handle. But now that we're trading back up, it sure seems to me like 72 is now resistance after breaking that as support. And indeed, Robinhood down 5% here today. Sure looks like we're going to retest 63 3/4 here, currently at 66.5. So looking at the chart here, I would also say that $60 might provide a potential support area. This again looked to be a resistance area that we ended up gapping above. We also used this as support back in May of 2025 as we started to push to new highs. We actually back tested this level. So part of me wonders if $60 would be the next area of support if we do crack this 63 3/4 level here, represented by the 500-day moving average. The other thing that's very, very clear here is really since the beginning of this year, I guess you could probably also say last year, but definitely since the beginning of this year, the 20-day moving average has told the story on Robinhood. We have not really been able to get above it. The one time we kind of flirted with getting above it, yeah, sure, we had 2 closes, it looks like, above that, but the first one was the impulse move that gapped us above it. The next day was one where we sold off and very clearly had downside momentum going into the next day. And then the next day we gapped beneath it. So the 20-day moving average, extremely important. This is definitely something that we would need to get above and then like to see potentially 3 closes above to really kind of change the trend. We have no indication that that's happening yet. That value at 72.87, that's likely going to keep coming down, especially as Robinhood trades down here. So let me know what the trigger is for you on Robinhood. Buffalo by Bicycle here says, I opened a position on Hood at $65. Do you have a target or a time frame for that particular trade? That'd be my first follow-up question. But yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think here on Robinhood. To me, this is all about watching some of the key support areas as we continue to probe lower areas, as well as watching that 20-day moving average to determine. Uh-oh. Oh, looks like we're having more internet problems. Did I drop there? Are we good? Are we good? We are back. Okay, I guess we did end up having a little blip there, but hey, at least we were here for the start of the show today. At least we were here for the start of the show today. All right, folks. My producer, my chat is not updating. Yes, it is. Now it is. Okay. Now I see it all. We're good. Lion here regarding Hood. I will buy Hood next week. Okay, so it looks like you're kind of waiting for Hood maybe to shake out, find a bottom. Not in the mood necessarily to start adding longs right now, I guess, especially on the back of yesterday. Lion said he's looking for 65. That's awesome. We are covering the market. You don't need to yell. Your attitude is entirely not needed here. Thanks, though. Okay. What else? What other stock is it that you folks want to take a look at here today? What other stocks do you folks want to take a look at here today? I guess you guys were saying oil. I guess we could absolutely take a look at USO. Here is USO. Izzy, this is a decent question here. Ryan, any buy dips today? That is a really good question, Izzy. I would say, at least before we open here, I'd want to see us put some type of firm footing in at a support level before doing that. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to buy anything for long term here. One of the things that I've been saying recently is I really want to feel like a capitulatory move down. This last bounce, we didn't quite test the 10% level. Wasn't exactly sure that was going to continue. And now it looks like that was the right call. So we'll see if we break these recent lows and get kind of a oh shit sell-off moment. If that's the case, I'd definitely be more inclined to add. on a move down like that. Now, as far as trading here today, yeah, I would definitely be looking for dips into a support level and seeing if we can trade that. Absolutely. Let me know, though, if you have any specific targets there. Izzy, let me know. Okay, you guys want to see Broadcom, of course, all the time. All right. Let's see here. Fastly, PanW, and SNPS. Those are ones that stand out here. Let's take a look at Fastly. This has been amazing recently. Ever since this earnings report, the entire sentiment here on Fastly has shifted. And very much like Robinhood, the 20-day moving average has really kind of told the story here. However, it's telling the opposite story here. The 20-day is moving up and with the very steep appreciation in the price, and the price is staying above that. Every trade back down towards the 20-day has been met with a bounce, and in this case, the bounce to new highs. Here's what we have to look on a longer-term chart here for Fastly. This is what I got for the weekly, so I don't have complete price data here, but this actually looks like a really nice breakout here on Fastly. For me, given the performance that this stock has had recently, this to me is more of a wait and see on a pullback to take a new long here. Taking a look at the RSI on this weekly chart here, 89.76. 89.76. That is extremely overbought. I wouldn't necessarily want to chase that. I'd want that to come back in. If we look at this on a daily chart, we actually have a RSI reading of about 65 here today. We'll see if we can get this to come in a little bit lower or if this sets up near the next move towards the 20-day. Okay. See what else do we have here. PanW will do. Go Steve D. Morning. Do you think this dip could kind of be like the tariff tantrum and we'll get a nice bounce once it's resolved? So I would answer that in two parts. Number one, yes, I do think we're going to get a nice bounce once it's going to be resolved. But if you recall that the tariff tantrum, the Liberation Day, that was about as V-shape as it gets, right? Like we sold off big, and then one day it just changed. It just kind of turned around and we bounced big. I don't think that same thing is going to happen here in this conflict. And the reason is because we might get this down move here on this escalation. And then in the 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps it actually does end. But that's not the end of the story. Even if we start getting headlines about the conflict officially ending, there's still the Strait of Hormuz issue that's going to need to be sorted out, and that's going to take time. Rebuilding some of the oil infrastructure, also going to take time. If Iran keeps messing around and some of their electrical and oil infrastructure gets hit, that's going to increase some of that time as well. So, Steve, I think this is a really good question. I would say that, yes, the market is going to bounce, but I don't think it's going to be that pronounced V that we saw last April during Liberation Day. That would be my best guess where I sit here. That'd be my best guess where I sit here today. Okay. Let's go ahead and do PanW. I think 13 might still be preparing, so I want to give him some time instead of just rushing him on here. Let me take a look at Palo Alto here, ticker PanW. One of the reasons this is intriguing is because, remember, we just got a recent insider buy here by the CEO. That was gigantic. Let me actually take a look at some of those stats there on that. This was Nikesh Arora, the CEO, bought 68,000 shares, spent $10 million buying PanW on the open market. Think back to what Tim Melvin has taught us before. Sorry about that. Thinking back to what Tim Melvin has told us before, there's a million different reasons to sell, but there's only one reason to buy, and he was buying that at 146.87 here. Now, Palo Alto, it's 10 points higher. This is basically when we got that news, so it does look like we kind of put in almost like a double bottom formation down here at 143, 142, and we've bounced from that. To see more upside here on Palo Alto, I would really want to see us kind of trade. Oops, sorry about that. I would really want to see us trade back above 171 here. I'd really like to clear this out. We are now running up to the 50-day. I guess we're going to be a little bit lower here. We're going to be down by 1% here today. So I would say probably as long as this holds 152, you're probably okay. But we're getting ready to test the 20 and the 50-day here. We did have a death cross back with the 50-day at the beginning of this year. Palo Alto fell off the table after we got that death cross on the chart. Has this been fully resolved? I'll let you folks argue about that, but sure looks like we've moved down. Actually, it looks like we've kind of created a double bottom down here. This same area was support from Liberation Day last year, just kind of carrying along with that theme. And furthermore, if we take a look at this level, you can see this actually went back long before Liberation Day, going all the way back to December of 2023. So I think as long as we hold this spot here, Palo Alto probably pretty good. That CEO buy, that large CEO buy, got to be a tailwind for this without a doubt. If we can make some constructive moves here with the chart, perhaps we can get back above some of these moving averages and have some bullish action going here on Palo Alto. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our pre-market pulse segment. Let's say hi to 13. 13, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I got a boil to go to tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic.
A boil,
really
you
quick,
said, right?
Really quick, Sky Q. This looks like this is about to break out. I was hoping we could get on here a little bit early because it was starting to move up, but this looks like it wants to take 6. Sorry to
I'll tell you what, 13. Just go off. Here it is. It looks like it is breaking out.
There it is.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Just took 6. So sorry. Good morning, everybody. Hello. This is
13 came charged up today, folks.
Yeah, so Sky Q, this is the big mover this morning here. This is moving because it is going to be increasing production at its Foreland refinery. Hold on, let me pull this up here and give you all the details. This was in discussions with multiple crude companies in Nevada about increasing the local production that could supply this refinery. So that is why it is moving up here today. A couple other things, too, is that this was going through NASDAQ compliance listing, and that was back in September when they received that. They just regained listing by doing a 1-for-8 reverse split earlier this month. The company still does need cash, but they did regain compliance. So be careful with if you're trading Sky Q. They do need the capital. It could be coming as early as today. I didn't see that they had anything in the works to raise capital, but looking at their cash position, the fact they just went through recompliance and that they're trading higher today, it's pretty good setup for a capital raise. So just keep that in mind if you're going to try and trade this one.
Okay. Really good stuff. We'll see what we get here on Sky Q. That is definitely our biggest mover here of the day. 13, you'd be happy to know that several of the folks in the chat have already traded this. Some of them are already done for the day because of the outsized profits that they've made. So really cool.
Maybe COCP too as well, possibly.
I haven't seen a whole lot about that, but I was going through some of the news. So we'll see. Here's the next one, TMDE. And guess what, 13? We're going to have a bunch of energy names on here today, aren't we? And
yeah, so I just kind of went past this one and a whole bunch of it. We know what this is. We know what BATL is. We know what all those are. If they're moving on the comments from the announcement from Trump last night, right after the market, after hours closed, and that's pulling markets back down. We also had a reversal candle yesterday in the SPY. We talked about that in happy hour and how we could see markets turn around and come back in. That's happening today off those comments. So yeah, nothing is really surprising here. We kind of anticipated that struggling to recapture the 200-day SMA on the SPY would lead to a downturn. Here we are.
Okay. So just really quickly, you're going to see a bunch of movers here on the movers list that are all related, as 13 just outlined. I'm going to read you the whim for this. This is going to be applicable to a bunch of different stocks. Shares of oil and gas related companies are trading higher after President Trump's commitment to continuing strikes on Iran amid growing concern over transport security through the Strait of Hormuz. So that is going to have an impact on anything that is oil and gas related. Thematically, that is our catalyst here. So, okay, good stuff there. TMDE, just a really quick reminder here of the short interest on this name, 12.02%. And that reading came as of March 24th. What's notable about that, 13, is that this stock made a huge move to the upside since the start of the conflict at the end of February. our most recent data print, which encompasses some of that, shows that traders actually loaded into the short side thinking that the stock is going to come back down. So although we only have 12.02% and only 1 day to cover, 13, I cannot help but think that there are some folks here that are caught off sides by the 62% move and what we got yesterday from Trump. So perhaps some of these oil names will also see a rush to cover throughout the course of the day, causing them to maybe trade to the upside.
I would think so, that you're going to see some covering. When it comes to the energy names that are going this morning, TMDE is one of them. It's still climbing. Turbo Energy, TURB, Battalion Oil, BATL. We also had TPET, TPET, and another one from all this that's also coming back up is Anna. Anna is returning.
And are you okay? Are you okay, Anna?
That's the one. WTI, EONR also rising today. So a lot of energy names back up.
Battle?
I mentioned Battle. There's nothing, we know the reason why these are up. I don't think I need to go over those individual ones again, but
no, I think you're right.
Yeah, I would just be like, talking about the same thing over and over again if we went through those. But COCP, which is the one you have up right now, this is a biotech that has actually some pretty interesting news.
Is the FDA granting fast track designation to its direct acting protease inhibitor?
Yep.
Oral antiviral candidate being developed for the treatment of prophylaxis of novovirus infection.
Yeah, so fast track designation for the FDA means they're basically going to be moving the regulatory process a little bit faster with this one. They're going to keep a close eye on the development. It usually helps getting approvals faster and bringing this drug to market quicker. So fast track designation is everything that it implies. It's going to help move this thing much faster through the trials and the bringing it to market. The company does have cash, about 1 to 2 quarters, but doesn't have any revenue. So that cash is going bye-bye. But for now, looking at the chart, we're coming back in a little bit here and finding some support, I think, from the fair value area. We need to recapture VWAP. And if we do, the areas of resistance that I'd like to see if we can get back up to 2 are going to be 210, 250, and 3. I think we could hit all of those today. As if you look at the daily chart, we have been able to reach those in single days, but we haven't been able to stick around there. So once we start getting to some of these resistance levels, would be a good idea to raise your stops, make sure you're not getting rug pulled, and we'll just enjoy the rally as much as we can. I don't know if we're going to hit every single one of these, but I think it's possible. So 210, 250, and 3 are the next resistance areas I have beyond 2.
Okay, and as far as the fair value gap, I've outlined it here with the purple shaded rectangle. Indeed, we traded down to it. We actually wicked beneath the bottom end of it, but a pretty nice catch here. And COCP, excuse me, trading back up to the upside. VWAP test coming right now at 170 here as we speak.
Oh, big hurt. Well done. I think that was off of the SkyQ, maybe even COCP. But yeah, these two stocks were the biggest, best movers so far. I totally expect these to come back in. Maybe not COCP as much, but I think that could go on a little bit of a run this morning. But SkyQ, I don't know about because of the cash position.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown there. So that's everything, right? Everything else here is oil?
Yeah, nothing else.
Robin Energy?
Yeah, and there was some folks, somebody asked about, there's some other ones there from Dead AI, KOS, and SOC. Those are some more names that are moving here with this news. But there was a question about any helium plays from Kathy.
Yep.
And Lion mentioned LIN. There's also Air Liquide, the French company that's an OTC. That one keeps coming up as a big supplier of different types of gases, including O2 to SpaceX. Let me see if I can pull up that ticker for you.
Yeah, and you know what else? I'm sorry to break your concentration here, but we also talked about Matrix, right? MTRX being kind of a storage solution. Do they store helium? I'm wondering if that would play in here.
There you go. There's Air Liquide. They have 2 different OTCs for that. I think one's like the whole share, and another the QUY is like a fraction.
Construction maintenance. Energy infrastructure markets. Yeah, maybe. I don't know on MTRX. Okay. Did you want me to go to one of these Air Liquide stocks, or were you just giving them out?
I'm giving them out. You can if you want. I think I had a couple of other. I know I put together a watch list of some of the. Here it is, space propellants. There's only a handful of companies that can really do this and transport it. But I was kind of looking in the space sector, so there may be some more. But APD is another one that might work for the helium. I don't know if they do or not, but I know that they are making propellants. And then you have SLNG, which I think is just a transporter. But yeah, pretty much LIN, APD, and then Air Liquide would be the ones I would think are going to be the best. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah. And Lion's right. Oil's ripping, and there's.
He's not right. This is not junk. And this is what we're covering here today.
Hold on. The two things that we did cover are not junk. Maybe COCP because they're, a biotech, but this refinery company, this is kind of interesting because we are losing refining capacity globally, but the company does need cash. So that's the only caveat there. Other than that, some of the other ones that we were looking at, that I would have looked at, not worth our time. I think it's really just going to be one of those oil and gas days.
Okay. So that one of the questions that I was asking earlier, 13, is there more room to run? We're seeing a 12% move so far here in oil. Is there more room on some of these names? Are we looking to maybe take these long? Are we kind of waiting for a possible regression back to the mean? So it sounds like, at least for the purpose of day trading, we're going to focus on some of these oil names as they're likely to be in play here, but swing might be a little bit different.
I don't know if I'd want to hold anything over the weekend. Yeah. I don't think I'd want to do that. There are going to be only day trades here. There's a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen over the next several days. We have the jobs report on Friday when the markets are closed. We're going to come back on Monday to potentially more strikes on Iran if there's no deal that's made. I mean, there's a lot of things that I just don't think are very attractive to hold, swing plays for. So.
With you, and that has been a thought pretty much all week here about not holding into the weekend. Nothing has changed in that regard. Okay. So we've covered the movers list then. What else do we want to take a look at? And actually, I think we've got some of those first poll results in here. So I had asked earlier, 13, before you jumped on, about a folding phone, because it looks like there's, another one. I know you rolled your eyes here, but we actually had really good feedback from the group that was kind of on both sides of it. So this poll's interesting to me here. This is a good breakdown here. Are foldable devices actually appealing to you, was the question. No, not for me. The biggest cohort there, 46%.
I already lived that. I'm past that now. I had the whole clamshell phone. It was great while it lasted. I don't, and I thought the idea of folding screens was going to be cool. If they can't do anything about the creases that show up on these things, I don't care.
So, okay. So 46% said no, not for me. 26% said a little, but I have my doubts. 22% of you said, yes, I'm into them. And 6% said, I already use one. So 28% of total respondents either already have one or are interested. 26% kind of seems like they're on the fence, and half of the cohort, or near half of the cohort, just doesn't have an interest in this. So, producer, I think that the other thing about this particular poll, this would be a good one to maybe rerun 6 months from now, or if a new product is hyped or released, just to see if this type of demographic is changing at all. So we'll see. And you bring up some really good points there about the crease in the phone and everything like that. My big concern is that these phones just cost more money to begin with. And because you're folding the screen, more possible chances that phone doesn't work.
Well, it's not so much that I think the screens are going to be fine as far as they work, but I just don't like to see a crease in there. And I'm a little bit beyond the way that phones exist these days. I just don't care about the phones as I think they've kind of hit their limit. I want to see other things now. I want to be able to put on something like Meta glasses and have a whole display, even like a entire virtual screen. That's more where I'm at right now. I don't want this. Oh, you can fold your screen and all this other stupid stuff. Like I'm beyond that now.
Yeah, it sounds like you want wearables at this point. You want effective and helpful wearables, maybe not just another iteration of the phone.
That'd be great if you could.
Thinking about it, asking if he can iron the crease out of the phone. Tell you what, try that and let us know how it goes. Better still, if you can provide pictures of that experiment.
I'm not talking about implanting chips. That you want to go the route of the Neuralink, like Tesla's doing. That's going to be helpful for a lot of people that have literal neurological disabilities or physical disabilities. Not for me. That's not for me just yet. COCP, keep an eye on it. It's recapturing VWAP. Still needs some more volume. We still, 20 minutes away from the open, so lots of back and forth that could still happen before we see the real move. SkyQ, we pulled back down towards the 9 EMA, trying to get support from that and turn back up towards $6 again. Anyway,
plus size phones are just mini tablets.
Yeah, they really are.
Totally get it. Foldable phone, that's so 90s. What's next? The iPhone beeper?
Oh my God, that's such a
Forever 21 Bitcoin or bury the goat?
One. That's a good one.
Good one. All right. What other stocks do you folks want to take a look at going into the open here? Izzy had mentioned Micron getting pounded. Micron down almost 6%. We've seen some pretty good bounces from some of these memory names. Talked about how this isn't going anywhere earlier. Micron pulling back. Let me turn the question around on you, Izzy. What's the buy spot for Micron? If you want this long, if you think there's more upside here, what is the buy spot? Are you intrigued by the 5-6% pullback that we're seeing here today? If we hold the 100-day at 337 and a quarter, 337.38 there, does that represent a possible buy area? Are you looking for another area beneath it? Let me know. Let me know. 13, you got any thoughts on the Micron chart?
Oh, let's see here. Not that we didn't anticipate something like this happening. We were talking about it yesterday with, how this conflict's nowhere near being done. Losing the 350 area, that sets us up for the support that I think is coming down around what I said earlier, like 280, something like that, maybe 250. I think we're going lower under 300, but when we get down to 300, I expect there'll be some kind of support, maybe a bounce or so. But eventually, I think we lose that level. Just seems like that's the direction we're headed with Micron. Still a little bit overvalued, but once we get the that support from the 200, we could go on to make even higher highs. Like I said a long time ago, this could be the next Nvidia. We're just getting some pullback from all the excitement. And if we do get some support down around 250, let's say, because of the amount of backlog this thing has and just the demand for high bandwidth memory, this could be great for a while. So this is just, I think, temporary correction. And once we do correct in Micron, we're probably going to see 500 plus. I just can't tell you when.
This is good stuff here. Lion saying 290 is a big support, so maybe that if it pulls back there. Marionette says, I'm already thinking about where to short Micron. So let me ask you, Marionette, where's that at? Or do you have multiple spots? Like if this trades back up to the 50 and can't get above the 50, kind of like what we saw with the SPY, maybe trying to retest the 200, would you short Micron there? I know shorting some of these memory names doesn't seem like a safe thing to do, but maybe that actually sets up here with the chart. Let me know what type of spots you're looking at to open up that new short there. Dead AI says, guys, look at fertilizers. What's your favorite fertilizer stock? I think the one that we looked at the most last time when we went through this was CF. Here's what CF looks like today. 133 and a quarter, up 4%. Actually looks like a really clean bounce off the 20-day. So I would imagine that if you're bringing this up, you think that this probably takes out the recent high that we made. That was 141 and change, right? 141.96.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking anyone. I'm asking anyone that has an opinion on this. Dead AI just said, look at the fertilizers. So I'm asking for a little bit more context here. Which fertilizer? ADM is one that you were mentioning here. This was the CF chart. Here's ADM. You're looking for maybe a break here on ADM. This is Archer Daniels Midland. Soy, Mosaic, that's like MOS. That's another one that moved with CF the last time that we took a look at this. MOS actually looks like a little bit better of a chart here. Only up just shy of a percent. CF, the clear outperformer here today.
Some these look better than others. MOS looks like it's coming off of or this double bottom, or maybe even a triple bottom if you want to look at it that way. But you need to get back above some of these moving averages. I would say that maybe 30 or 29 in MOS is level we need to recapture. It seems to be the bit of a resistance area. CF support from the 20-day SMA is what it looks like it's getting right now. I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions on what's going to happen with the fertilizer market. It's been on a pretty good run.
Indeed. All right. You have a chart that you do. Excuse me, 13. Sorry. Is there a chart that you would like to cover of any industry here? And I'm actually going to step away when you go over that.
What does the chat want me to look at? Because there's not really anything in particular I'm looking at here. I think somebody was mentioning how should we be looking at the space plays from the Artemis launch? I would say no. I don't think that it's quite time yet for. I think more of the space plays will do better around Starship's launches, their test flights. Maybe when Artemis returns, completely, because that's like a 10-day mission.
Yep.
So maybe when Artemis returns, there might be some movement in the space stocks, but I think this is more about what SpaceX is capable of.
Okay. All right. Izzy wants to take a look at Amazon, so I'll start you with that. 13. I'll be right back.
Okay. Sounds good. Amazon. All right. So this is trying to recapture 212, in my opinion. This has been a big support and resistance area going back to 2024. We need to recapture 212 and that 50-day SMA. That 50-day SMA looks like it could push the price down even more. We did have a death cross recently, earlier this month on March 10th. That's not a great sign. I would think that this signal could lead to some lower prints, lower than we've had right now. Like we could come back underneath 200. I just don't know exactly where the bottom would be or where we might find support. I would think if all that happens, maybe 175 or 180. 180 does look pretty good. But we need to get back above some of these moving averages. And right now we're kind of back and forth between the 500. That's where we've been since February, just on the top side and underside of the 500-day SMA since the beginning of February. So I would need to see all that. Like we need to get back above 212. We need to get back above the 50. Sure, the 200 is something we're going to have to eventually do as well. But it just seems like to me with Amazon, we're still chopping sideways, and it looks like there's a little bit more of a downside pressure than there is an upside rally anytime soon. That's just the way the chart looks to me. Probably, there's a chance I'm probably wrong about that, but look at the sideways price action, the way that this formation is set up, it looks like we could go back underneath 200.
Okay.
That's just the way it looks to me. Hey, no problem, Izzy.
There you go.
Yeah, 200 maybe is a psych level. It certainly did get support at the end of last month right there. But if we can't, get back above 212 or that 50-day SMA, I think we're losing that 200 level. Anyway, what was your question?
I was just saying, what is the next stock? But we were finishing up there on Amazon. I did notice that Tesla is getting yanked pretty hard here in the pre-market. This is actually at the pre-market lows. This coming into a possible support area between 350 and 360, where it's found support before, very clearly being driven down by the 20-day moving average. But I'm up for taking a look at any stock that you folks want. BH, you've said oil stocks. Let's hammer oil. Give us a ticker. We have literally been asking for tickers.
And,
give us one.
Lots of oil stocks are up today.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you just pick one and you'll probably do well. But
and that's so when you say let's hammer oil, give us some more context. Are you looking to play some of these to the long side? Do you think that this 13% move in oil is going to continue and go higher? Are you looking for a regression back to the mean? What are you looking for?
There's TPET. So this is another one that's It's a trio petroleum, but this is under $1 again. This was taken off when we first started the Iran bombing. That took us up to the 500-day SMA. We've given all that back. We're beneath all of the moving averages that we had blown past. If we're going to turn around here, I think the closest one that we're at, we need to get it back above that 50-day SMA, and then the 200. The 200 actually is at $1, so I would expect there to be some resistance at that 200-day SMA if we do climb up there today. So just something to think about. And when we do approach that level, let's just see what time it is and what the market's doing, because if the market's moving vigorously on something, we could move past $1, like higher. But I think if volume's going to be a little stale, then we may see $1, and that could be the area where we get rejected in TPET.
Okay.
Let's see, USO up 12.6. Firefly, that was another one we looked at yesterday. We can look at that one as well. Crankbait is asking about SGML, Lion COP, and then we have Jamaican asking about SNPS or CDNS.
Okay, let's start with COP.
Yeah.
Let's start with COP because that's another oil name. This is, again, why I was asking the specific question that I was asking. COP, you can see this is being driven up with the entire conflict that's going on, staying above the 20-day. It's up another 2.45% today. So my question is do we challenge these recent highs here at 135 and change? You think we're going to have the juice to continue to move higher off of that? Or do we see maybe the market bounce a little bit and oil come back in a little bit?
Well, I think you're going to get, if we do fade a little bit here out of the open with COP, I'd be looking for some support at 130 and see what happens there, because that looks like a resistance area that we've moved through in the pre-market here. So if we open above that, then I want to see it as support. But to your point about 135, if we do get that support, if we don't lose 130 and head lower, I think 135 is possible.
Okay. Okay, what was you wanted to take a look at Synopsis? SNPS?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. SNPS. So we were getting asked about this one. Question was, if I can just pull it back up here.
I'll tell you what, 378 to 379. This looks like a triple bottom right here that it is trying to hold on to. To me, I think any long side trade, you're trading it against this level.
So I think this may be more for you. Jamaican SP is asking SNPS or CDNS interested in a leap. When it comes to SNPS, the concern that I'd have is what's been going on the back half of March. It looks like this is trying to trade lower. And if we do get that, maybe there's support down around 367. That's the bottom of maybe 365. There's an area back from 2022 and 2023 where there's this support that could potentially kick in. But I just don't know exactly where the bottom in this thing is. It could be a little bit lower from here. And it looks to me like 365 might be a better area of support than where we're at right now. But that's just what I'm seeing here on the chart. Do you have anything, Ryan, for Jamaican?
I think with SNPS, I'm trying to pull it up here. I'm sorry that this is lagging, but didn't they have kind of a soft guide the last time that they reported earnings?
Oh gosh, let's see here. They did it.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So their fiscal year 2026 GAAP EPS, the guidance of 240 to 290 was actually 221 to 262, and that was versus the 271 estimate. So to your point about what was happening here, and this happened at the end of February. So to the point here about what was happening since early March, seems like the stock was kind of falling a little bit out of favor due to the soft guide that it had. Now, I don't know when that's going to turn around, but very clearly, guidance below estimates, one of the things that's driving this. One of the other things that we can take a look at are what analysts think of this since that recent report. The stock price here is 388 today. We have recent price targets. These were all right before those earnings, 480, 450, 530, and 430. And those that came from Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Rosenblatt, and Piper Sandler. So these are not shaky firms here. And all of them lowered their price target but their price target is still about 100 points higher than where the current price is. So I would say if you want a leap call on this, this is probably what you're looking at. Some of the price in there, probably between 450 and 5. And then hopefully it turns around there for you. But I think the reason that it's moving down here is because of the guidance, and I can't help it, 13. I go back to the chart here. Just looking at this daily chart, we can look at a longer time frame if you want, but just looking at this daily chart, I think I said a triple bottom earlier. This is a quadruple bottom, right? And so this area here, this 378, 380 area, this to me is going to be very important for that trade.
And, I'm looking at this list of all these analysts, and there is not a single one in the 300s. The lowest one I see is 430. Oh, I'm sorry, 425. But that was that was back in October. Still, a lot of these are in the 500s and 600s. So there still is an expectation for this to go higher, but I think it maybe not as explosive as
and I think one of the things you're seeing here, 13, is this a year of transition? Right? Stock's kind of been sideways here. If this is a year of transition, maybe you don't get those outperformance on the calls like you've seen before. But just kind of looking at the chart, let's see if it holds this area here. And Frank's right. Frank, great to see you here this morning. It's time to look at S&P 500 sectors. Look for rotation from today into next week. That's also something that we can do as we start to get more market data here. Good call, Frank. Good morning. Good to see you.
And we are, 4 minutes away now? Less than 4 minutes away. So we're getting pretty close. Still a lot of names that we got our wish. Everybody was dropping tickers in here. We got USO, Fly, Oxy. We looked at COP already.
I was asked yesterday on Happy Hour if Fly is going to fly up here today, and I said no. I said I didn't have a position. I was very clear about that, but I said no. Fly down 6% here today. I think you discussed 35 as being a pretty key level that it would really have to get over, if I recall from memory correctly yesterday.
Yes.
So
and it's I think the space plays are going to do better, but I don't know I don't think that the Artemis launch was really the big driver. It got some excitement with these names. We saw in the lead up to the launch, like yesterday, there were a lot of space names that were going, but that may have also been because we were getting a broader market rally, with oil being out of favor at the moment and everything else getting attention. Now that that's changed, we're seeing these names come back in. So I'm not really sure that the Artemis launch is really going to move.
More of a sell the news so far.
Yeah, it's post launch. I don't think it was more of a trade going into the launch. I think that the developments out of SpaceX are going to be a better driver for these space names.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Fly. Less than 2 minutes. Any other stocks that you want to take a look at?
Folks bringing up some of these other space names like Redwire, Inspire Global. Yeah, I got a whole huge watch list, and they've been looking pretty good. But the ones that I'm in are Rocket Lab and Redwire. I think they'll do great eventually, but for now, this
Redwire.
Yeah, I think it's fine to temper expectations because of the time that we're in right now. Space names. Here we go. So yeah, looking pretty red here today. To me, it seems like IRDM, one of the only ones that pays a dividend, is doing good. Sirius XM is also up slightly. That's the other one that pays a dividend. Planet Labs.
Did you want to cover the Redwire news today?
Oh, do they have news? Let's see.
Redwire was awarded a contract to develop quantum secure satellite ESA quantum key distribution satellite with ESA's ARTES partnership project.
They have so much stuff going on there. They also do biotech testing, and they've got 3D printing up there. There's all kinds of stuff that this company does. So, what's the terms of that contract? Like, is there any figure attached to it?
You know what? Let me actually look at the press release itself. I don't see figures. By the way, it's one of the reasons I really like Pro is they highlight some of the monetary stuff, so it's easy to find. I don't see any figures in this 13.
Yeah, so I don't think that's. It might get a little movement today. To me, this is trading in a bit of a descending wedge. So I'm looking for a pretty good breakout for Redwire. Maybe we get that if we can recapture the 200-day SMA. But it just this might not be the time just yet. All right, we're open.
Okay, and just as a reminder, we are going to have an all access in about 15 minutes. So we're gonna cut to that 13, but we're gonna come back here and finish off the day when we do that.
Sounds good.
All right, let me flip over to the main workspace. Here we go.
Yeah, red wire with a little pop out the gate there. Sky Quarry, one of the ones we were looking at this morning. We've got a pop and now we're dropping. COCP trying to push up. Looks like this is trying to go back up to 2. We'll see if we can get through 180. There's a bunch of sellers from here to the north. 180, 185, and 190. Every 5 cents, there's a large seller in the way. So we're going to need some good volume to get through those.
SkyQ a little weak out of the open here. I've got VWAP at 509, so we'll see if SkyQ can actually hold that.
Resolve AI, one of the movers that we were looking at yesterday, that's higher out of the gate.
RZLV is that ticker, right?
Yep. Let's see. Light higher.
Seeing a kind of an equal flow of calls and puts here on a lot of the different tech names: Palantir, Tesla, Intel, NVIDIA, even BM&R.
Hey, Retro, good morning. The Trump had a speech last night right after the after-hours market closed, and I think the big takeaway is that we're not done with Iran yet, but we're trying to wrap it up. So that just means a little bit more oil volatility. So that's why oil names are up, and a lot of the things that were running yesterday are selling off.
An oil name, oil, by the way, it's down 1% from its highs. It was up at about 13% down, or now up 12%. The market is trying to bounce here right out of the open. We're not even back at the VWAP yet on the S&P futures. I've got that VWAP here. Let me get that value here for you. VWAP at about 65.50 on the ES there, so not there. Now, I will say COCP, one of the movers that we were taking a look at, this going back up towards 2. I think we talked about 2 being a potential breakout spot there on it.
Yep, 199 is the high from the pre-market. If we can get past that, the resistance areas that I saw are going to be 210, 250, and 3. We could potentially hit all those levels today. So just waiting to see if we can get past 2 right now. Big seller in the way, no surprise, at $2.
Yep.
All right, TMDE starting to move up here. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
And then I'm going to pull up some of these other energy names. Looks like Battalion Oil went down to the 65 EMA, got some support there.
TMDE and a possible move through 180 as we speak right here.
Yep. We had a pre-market high of 207. And let's see, what are some of the others names here? Turb, let me pull that one up.
Blue Owl down 6%, although this is up off the lows. That's on that private credit worry that we've been talking about.
Redwire's having a pretty good morning here, trying to fill the gap overnight. If we do fill that gap, maybe it starts to sell, or if we hit some of these little areas just above 9, where it was getting support yesterday in the regular session, that might also be a resistance area.
That first move up that I just talked about there on the SPY right out of the open, that's quickly being met with selling, just as we suspected. So not one that we wanted to chase after right there.
So we got a test in COCP of that pre-market high. We went to 198 and pulled a little bit. 199 is the high. So hopefully we can get some support here down. If this pulls to like 180, we get support there and try to push up through that $2. But this is still looking like it's trying to get beyond that $2 level.
AAOI, big power candle here, Kath. How does light look?
I mentioned light earlier. That was going up too. This
yep, that's also power candle out of the open here. Okay.
Yeah, that's reaching some of so yesterday when it opened, it popped up as well, and it found it consolidated a bit. The price today just went up to that consolidation after the open yesterday. Just right up to it, and now we're backing off a bit.
Netflix here up 0.5%. This actually, among some of the bigger names, this is actually one of the better performers here today, is he? GLW being mentioned by Jay. It's been another pretty big winner for us.
COCP popped over 2, hit 203 and backed way off. So big seller pulled it right back down.
So you want to see this hold the VWAP now down here, 171, 173-ish.
I want to see this break past 2 and then hold 2.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the ideal thing here, and that'll help us get our other targets. BATL still trying to reverse off that 65 EMA.
BDRX, this was a penny stock this morning. This is now halted to the upside 104.
SkyQ not able to get back up to 6.
XOM dip getting bought here. So I was asking about some of the oil names, whether or not you folks think there's a regression back to the mean or maybe some more legs here. XOM pulled off its pre-market high. This is now bouncing back. It's actually just recaptured the VWAP.
The Exxon news mean anything? What's the news? Is it anything?
The only news that I have here is regarding the oil and gas related theme that's going on here. Is there anything else in particular that you're referring to? And Lion, this is interesting. Amidst all of this, adding a few SMR, that's more of a long-term play, right, Lion?
That's a very long-term play. They're not going to have any revenue for a while.
But I'm just thinking, what he's probably doing, he's looking at this. This came all the way back in off that huge run. So I think he's kind of loading this for the long-term. Lion says yes. That makes sense to me.
Lunar and Planet Labs have filled the overnight gap. That's fantastic. Both are going to be very much in that space theme.
Planet Labs was actually on the scanner list here just a second ago.
Oh, really? Okay. So, I mean, that recently had earnings that looked like that was, or there was like a price target of, I think it was 35 or 40. Something like that. But this is going to be one of the important names to keep an eye on, as is Lunar, even though their spacecraft tends to tip over upon landing. It's still going to be a major component for the lunar base missions and the future of spaceflight. COCP, big pull through that 180.
Yep.
It looks like this is coming down to some of that, what is this, the support in the fair value area?
Yeah, so I don't know that I'm going to trust the fair value gap because it's no longer unmitigated as it was the first time that we bounced from it. But yes, this is the exact same area that we found support earlier.
Good job, Jacob, on COCP. That was a nice.
Good job for Jacob, COCP. Good job for Izzy, Netflix. Jacob's done for the day. Jacob.
Perfect.
Do another register ring for that. Netflix continuing to rip to the upside. Apple continuing to pull back. We'll see if Apple can hold 250 on the pullback. VIX, by the way, 27.29, and Bitcoin also at the lows. New day lows here, 64,000 on the Bitcoin futures.
Hey, Paul, if that was it for you today. If you're not hanging around, have a wonderful Easter. Otherwise, stick around and hang with us and have some fun. IRDM actually had a nice jump up today, 8%. It's one of the nicest space names. They pay a dividend. Not very many do.
After hours highs there. That I'm guessing that's on the whole Artemis thing. 3150 looks to be the next spot there. Palantir at the lows, 141. Costco back above 1,000.
Lots of those, just lots of everything. This all around is kind of pulling. Resolve AI, resolving higher. Man, I texted you about this yesterday.
Yeah, you did, and I did reach out to Tim.
Okay, because if what
He's
I'm
with
seeing,
his grandkids, though, I don't expect to hear from him for a few days.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt his time with his family, but I was reading into this and I was like, is this really flying under the radar for us? Because I was looking at the guidance and their last earnings, and I was like, why wasn't this doing better? And I think that this may be just a hidden gem. So we'll see, but I don't have a position in this. I was gonna, want to get some more research on it, but it looks kind of interesting. And if the sales are, real and their guidance is real, and they've got all those clients already paying them, this could be explosive.
You look like you're trying to break above yesterday's intraday high too, so that might draw in some Momo names. Pot G says, "I'm green. Have a nice long weekend. Happy Easter to you and your fam." Pot G, have a good one. We'll be back on Monday, and we're expecting a big day on Monday.
RZLV and BBAI is a buy. Now BBAI, that's the one that we were told is going to be the next Palantir, right? Still on the fence about whether or not that's the case. Looking at RZLV, if everything they've got, I was going to say, if everything they've got going on is true, this thing is way undervalued.
WIS, I guess it's worth mentioning here. This is ticker GV. That's a penny play. That has a power candle right out of the open here today.
Was this moving with some of the other oil and gas names, or what's going on here with this one? Okay, so here we go. The Toronto-based company announced a $20 million investment cooperation agreement with Qingdao Zhihai Rongke on Tuesday for an anti-aging product in China. So, what is this, dermatological company? I don't know. Anyway, that's what the news is. It's moving because of a $20 million investment to develop a anti-aging project. Yeah, I just saw Turb was starting to take off here. Looks like 385 might provide a little bit of resistance. That's some of the pre-market resistance areas. I'm sorry, pre-market sideways price action that we had yesterday. So that could be a resistance area. We'll need some good volume to get through it, but
Intel might be trying to close the gap created by today's gap down. Intel very strong yesterday on the back of that news on buying back the Irish fab. Oil back to plus 13%. And that initial impulse that we told you to avoid right on the SPY, that rolling back over to the lows as well. SPY is below VWAP. I have VWAP on the SPY 646.26, currently at 645.35. And I have, by the way, the pre-market low there, Joe. This is not the actual dead low, but it's right around 644.
All right, some of these gas names trying to turn around. Turb looking pretty good at the moment. Coming up to that resistance area I just mentioned. Battalion still trying to hold above its 65 EMA. TMDE, same thing, but looks like that's about to lose it.
You know, Turb coming up, that VWAP there at 389. We'll see if this can actually break above. You're welcome, Joe. No problem. Market's trying to bounce again here. It actually just moved back through the VWAP that Joe was asking me about to the upside. S&P futures, by the way, still beneath the VWAP on the 15-minute chart. Excuse me. That would be something I'd be watching there. COCP pulled back to that area that we talked about. Looks like it's trying to curl, but I don't necessarily trust that. Palantir, 2-point bounce in the last 5-minute candle.
Yeah, Lion, Netflix intraday kind of looks like it wants to press higher with this formation that we got out of the gate here. Let's see, maybe a little bit further into the 90s. I don't think we'll hit 100 today, but you're looking at 100 calls that expire in August. Probably potentially test that way sooner than August. But yeah, I think the Netflix may continue to have a hard time with recapturing the all-time highs.
Okay, 13, I think we should move over and do our all access real quick. If you want to hop to the back, I know 13 will stay in the chat. He'll continue to trade with you folks. We're going to do this all access. We will be right back here to finish off the trading session. Nothing has changed in terms of the length of our show. So producer, let's go ahead and take it away. Hey Zingers, welcome back to another All Access. Today we welcome back Paul Warley, CEO of Ascent Solar Technologies, ticker ASTI on the NASDAQ. Paul, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Ryan. I'm doing very well. I hope you are.
Yes, we are. Thanks again for joining us. Look, we've had a lot of fun kind of following your story here, so I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here and kind of cover all of that. Let me just dive right into this right off the bat here. You have some big news related to SpaceX this Monday. Can you let the audience know how Ascent Solar is involved here?
Yeah, the launch, I think it was Rocket 16 or their launch 16. We had two customers on that flight. We'll be getting data on one shortly. That company's called Novi Space. The other one, we have an NDA in place, and all I can say it's a European company. But anyway, it was exciting to have two on one launch.
Yeah, I bet. And it seems like you're really progressing there. Now, you mentioned that you're expecting data feeds back in the next few days. What specific performance metrics are you looking for? And what would a successful demonstration mean for future orders from Novi's planned constellation?
Well, Ryan, I almost say it's going to be more cool. We'll get other data, but it's going to be more cool because they have the cameras, and the cameras are looking at our solar rolled out, and so there's billions and billions of particles of space debris up there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we're hoping to see kind of like the smaller stuff bouncing off of our solar. But we'll show our solar displayed, and it'll roll out, or it has rolled out. And then, so we'll have basically a live demo of our product in space.
Okay, it sounds really exciting. What does that mean for the space industry as a whole?
I mean, as a whole, the industry is moving to needing more and more and more power. Okay, period. Whether you're seeing, there's a lot of startups involved. In the power side of things, we're aligned with half a dozen of them. But again, this is, as I've showed you before, this is what I call the cool aspect. We're the only ones that can really that can roll up to this degree and then unroll, and we're anywhere from 5 to 15 times lighter than anything else in space.
Okay, that all sounds. Sorry, go ahead.
You save money when you launch. Now, with the launch costs going down, especially to LEO, that is important, but is not as important. But when you start talking about putting your satellites in MEO and GEO, we can save millions. In addition, our product performs very well at those levels because we do very well in high radiation.
Okay, that's fantastic. I hope that continues here. Now, look, in an earlier article this year, Ascent Solar listed its priorities as space, drones, and defense in 2026. What are your updates on the following, given that we're wrapping up in Q1 here?
Okay, we're talking to several HAPS players, high altitude blimps. Okay, our product again is light, so they can put a lot more on a blimp. And blimps, I think, are going to be a key player as a relay tool or processing at a lower level and then just sending the data back down. And if satellites go out in any kind of conflict, you can bring a HAPS up much quicker than you can a satellite.
Okay. Sounds like this would also have applications in the data center and space stuff that we've been hearing about, but maybe we'll pump the brakes on that and ask as we get a little bit closer to that.
Well, I appreciate you doing that because that's still a bit out.
Yeah, and totally understandable. I just want to get ahead of it. And like I said, you've been so gracious with your time here. I'm sure we'll have another opportunity for that. In the immediate term, though, what would you want investors to know about the potential for the solar panel industry and why Ascent Solar is different?
Well, we have some applications, like the HAPS, and then I was going to talk about the surveillance drones. Okay. All the drones you're seeing in the battles and that, they don't use solar. Out, they do their mission, and they either blow themselves up or they're destroyed going out. Very little of them return, like less than 5%. Okay. But surveillance drones are can be a key aspect in homeland security applications, or small, and they want them to stay up there for a longer period of time. And that market is just starting to, we've had a bunch of inquiries around that.
Okay, so it actually sounds like your TAM is going to be able to increase too. That's absolutely fantastic.
One other area, is ocean. Believe it or not.
Okay.
So we've been working with companies that have, let's say, I'm not going to call them ships, but call them vehicles that are on top of the water and go down and then come back up, and they can do various things down, but they rely on the solar panel or power to recharge the batteries so they can do their job. One is both DOW and commercial. And then another group we're working with is just DOW.
Okay. All right. Paul, is there anything else that you think investors should know here?
You know, I'm excited. I'm more excited about the company now than I've ever been.
Okay, that's awesome. And Paul, look, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know you've joined us a few times. I personally cannot wait to have you back and continue to follow the story here with Ascent Solar. Again, folks, that's ticker ASTI on the NASDAQ. Paul, have a great rest of your day, all right?
Thank you. Do the same, Ryan. See you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. All right, folks, thanks for joining us here for another All Access. I look forward to sending it back to the show with Ryan and 13 right now. All right, well, there's Ryan. There's 13. We're back. All right, 13. What did I miss?
Looks like SpaceX has officially filed for their IPO in June. I'm not sure how old that is, but I just caught wind of it.
Okay. Awesome. We kind of knew that was going to happen. That was kind of the plan for middle of the year, back half of the year. So now it looks like we're getting that. Also, it looks like the SPY is bouncing here. I've got the SPY on the screen, but I'm also looking at the S&P futures here. We're about to test VWAP, so I would want to see if the S&P futures can actually move through the VWAP here. Again, 65.50 is kind of where I had that. We're at 65.41 at the moment.
Some movement here. We're getting some of the space names. Redwire climbed up to almost its to fill its gap from the overnight fall that it had. Sky Quarry, this is coming down towards its 65 EMA. COCP is kind of sideways, trying to hold above 150. I think if we lose that, we're coming down towards the 65 EMA. TMDE lost 665 EMA. BATL is riding its moving average there. That same one. Meanwhile, IRDM is hit a high of 31.87 after starting around 29 this morning. So good move there in IRDM.
Okay. All right. Captain Cloudy says, I bought SPY calls. What strike and expiry on those? Ryan, did you read my comment? Which one? I did not read your comments during the interview. I was focused on the actual interview itself. Let me scroll up and see if I can get those. Ryan, make sure you ask those companies you future what the percentage of ownership by the management in the company. That's not bad. We can do that. It'll give you a hint if they're investing in the company or if they're just a salesman. Yeah, so sorry, Ryan. Obviously did not see that during the interview. I'm going to focus on the guest and the interview at hand. But that's not bad at all. Not bad at all. 649 0 DTE. Good stuff there. And you are you're a point away from being in the money, Captain Cloudy. A nice little curl there on some of those calls as well. No position for me on that. Again, tied up with the interview there.
Oh, yes, Jay. IRDM is a real company. Probably one of the realest space companies.
The realest.
The realest, for real, for real.
Oh, I love it.
I wonder if we're seeing all this movement in the space names now that IPO is filed. I don't think it's on Artemis. I mean, we gapped down this morning after Artemis, so I don't.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, 13, you're absolutely right, because all of these are doing the same thing. All of these catching the tailwind from that SpaceX IPO.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yep, me too. Me too. I think you're absolutely right about that. Look at Planet Labs. Gary, with no market tomorrow, are you dipping into the bourbon tonight? You'll have to let me know. Planet Lab, nice move here, though. Real nice move today.
Yeah, still a little. The Rocket Lab climbing up. Let's see, Lunar up 6%. Lots of.
I haven't seen anything crazy on the options market here today. It looks like short-term trading. Doesn't look like a whole lot of swing positioning. But by the way, S&P futures now blowing through the VWAP there. 65.52. We're clean through the VWAP. SPY is at its day highs, actually is approaching the pre-market high. I guess technically that would be an overnight high as that occurred at 3 a.m. That spot up there, 650 on the SPY, that might be a next resistance area.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing this up, BH. Kodak, not Kodiak, Kodak.
Okay, I'll make sure I get it right today. That's for damn sure.
Now, this was one I was talking about recently because they've got a real interesting battery angle with what is the company's name? Atios Systems. They're with their Raycore battery electrode platform. This is going to be something that can be used in all battery platforms. It's PFAS free, and it's supposed to reduce manufacturing costs by 98%. Could be a real fascinating platform they've got here, but that's Kodak. So could be a battery play now.
It's Bob. I had to change my name because of scammers. BH, Bob Header. Okay, well, good to have you back here, Bob. Sorry about the scam nonsense.
Kodak's moving on pharmaceutical news. I know they're in that space as well a little bit, but I think the bigger picture for Kodak is their electrodes. I don't see the...
yeah, I was going to say, what is that news? I don't see that here.
I don't see that either.
Never left. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just a different name. New handle. Who dis? I got you, Bob. Yeah, don't see any of that. All of these space names, though, wow, all flipped to the green. Intel, too, also green now. Intel, red, green, nice move. Okay, next spot here, 48.75. That's going to be your pre-market high from yesterday.
No, I understand, Jay. It's been a chemical company for decades, but the big thing that I think is causing it to move these days is that battery electrode platform. If you have time, read into that Raycore battery platform that they're working on with Atios, and I think you'll understand why I'm kind of excited about that particular segment of their business. But you're right; it is a chemical company more than anything else, and I think it's that chemical side that's led to these electrodes being able to be manufactured so cheaply. So I still think that there's a very big battery angle coming here with Kodak, but you're right, it is a chemical company.
Satellogic at the highs.
Yeah, those space names just going to be having quite a day with that SpaceX news, and we're going to find more of that over the weekend. I mean, it's going to be volatile next week too. I said it would be volatile this week.
Yeah, you did.
It's going to be volatile next week.
Yeah, you did. S&P continuing to print highs here. Captain Cloudy absolutely hooked one there. On the 15-minute chart, S&P momentum trend bullish. 67% confidence level on that. That's looking pretty good. SPY day highs now. 650 test coming.
Oh, Kanjalia mentioning that I think that's Swarmer,
SWMR on it.
And
100% out, Captain Cloudy. That is how you celebrate Good Friday a day early, boss. And Palantir, what a bounce from 138 on Palantir. 6-point bounce on Palantir today. Bitcoin is even trying to bounce off 66K, by the way.
Swarmer looks like it's going to try to go for 60. Maybe, I don't know if it gets there today. Maybe it does, but that's just what it looks like it's headed for next. And that's where resistance is at 60. All right. So Izzy sent you a tweet on Kodak.
Yeah, I don't see it yet here in my mentions, but I'll grab it as soon as I get it there. Let me actually clear the deck here. I can go to the regular site too.
I'd like to see that pharmaceutical news, but I think
I'll bring it up. I'm happy to bring it up.
I just think that battery electrode platform that they're working on is going to be big. Oh yeah, Brian. Every time that he talks, he's trying to maintain a framework so that people, kind of are guided in the direction he wants them to be. It's, just kind of painting a picture and saying, here's how it's going to play out. And the only other thing that he needs to do is just keep that promise.
All right. Here's the tweet in question. And by the way, Izzy, first of all, I really appreciate you sending this over for a couple of reasons. First of all, this tweet right here, handle on this, Oracle NYSE. For those of you that are familiar with Benzinga Pro, you might realize this is actually the X account for our high beta squawker. So if you have Pro and you have access to high beta squawk, you got this news as fast as possible because this is something that he squawked here. Trump administration has prepared an order that would impose 100% tariff on some imports of patented medications and their active ingredients, according to a draft obtained by stat reporter Daniel Payne. For anyone that wants this tweet, there's a link in here. I'll give it to you. Oops, there we go. Oh, where's my mouse? Getting lost there. Here's that tweet if you want to go through it, but a big time shout out to Oracle here, who is the high beta squawker in the Benzinga Pro platform. So good mention there, Izzy. Appreciate you. All right, that SPY bounce stopped right at 650. Almost like you can't make it up. Big time bounce here out of the open. Guarantee that there was a lot of, I guess, fear and nervousness given the big move that we've seen. Oil's down, but only down 1.5% from that 13% level. So I don't think there's any party to be had yet on oil. But the SPY here, that was a great move up to 650. It absolutely found resistance at 650. That level's still going to be on deck here. What a move in SPY out of the open.
We're getting reports that China is experiencing a significant helium shortage due to the Middle East conflicts. So that's going to affect tech out of that area.
Okay.
Potential reversal in SkyQ. We did go down to the 65 EMA, and it does look like we are trying to turn around and bounce. We need to recapture the VWAP. I think that's the next big thing that needs to happen here for that reversal to take hold. Same thing with COCP. This also turning around, coming back up towards its VWAP. Also need to see a recapture there.
Okay, let me bring COCP up here.
Yeah, I know, Lion. I was just looking at Lynn and Air Liquid and all that after we got that news. So don't worry, I've got my eyes on some of these names for
not to be a jerk, but when 13 first brought up Lynn, Lion's response was, "Get off the junk."
Oh, come on.
So just saying, 13, my boy's wicked smart. He knows what to do. Just saying.
Yeah, I've been looking at some of these, gas producers because of this whole SpaceX angle. We're going to need a lot of propellant. The propellant in question is going to be liquid oxygen and liquid methane. Now, for the liquid oxygen segment, yes, Lynn, the Air Liquide, and that other one, what was it called? The AAP or something like that. Hold on a second, I'll get it for you. But all those are going to be, this is scanners. All those are going to be, I think, in play for when we start to get more frequent launches from SpaceX. Here we go, propellants. ADP. And for the methane side, Enbridge would be a very big play because they have facilities very close to SpaceX.
That's
and they are, and they are producers of methane. So I think that's going to, the gases are going to be very, very important as we get to a more frequent launches with SpaceX. And they are building a facility out at Starbase that's going to massively increase the amount of production of those spacecraft. So we're going to see a lot more launches in the future.
Lion says, I wasn't talking about Lynn. Yes, I understand that, but you're still making a big deal about it. And we are going to cover all of that stuff. We're not going to focus on one thing or another. That was the point.
Dara,
just relax, Lion. Take a deep breath.
They're going to get liquid water from the ice on the moon. Yes, that's going to be at the southern region of the moon. It's a very large crater area, covers like 25% of the moon, but it's going to be, that's where they're going to get liquid oxygen, and they're going to be able to create methane using some of the soil there and oxygen, so and the hydrogen as well. So they're going to have to manufacture their propellants on the moon in order to, sustainably have a supply to return and get off the moon. But they're not going specifically to the moon to get liquid oxygen. We're pulling it out of our air here using air capture methods. I forgot the name of the process. But we basically just capture air out of the atmosphere and compress it into liquid oxygen.
Seeing a tweet here from First Squawk. Microsoft announced plans to develop advanced AI models by 2027. Not sure anyone is thinking that far out. Microsoft here actually still holding 365. We talked about this as being one of the legacy players that might benefit from AI. 13, I had a story earlier. Brad Lightcap, I can't remember the exact company he works for. He was saying that AI is actually going to make a lot of winners out of some of the legacy tech names. And Microsoft was one of them cited in the article. That this was against the backdrop of AI is going to kill all the software. No, probably not going to kill all the software. Actually, probably going to help some of the software companies. Microsoft was one of those. I know we've been talking about Microsoft being a buy, this actually being down, I think like almost 30% from its all-time highs. So more corrected, if you will, than the broader market here. But just seeing that headline cross the wire here, new AI advanced models by 2027.
Mike F., you're absolutely right about the helium-3. That's going to have multiple applications. And I think we're going to see a lot of harvesting done, but that's going to be way far in the future. We need something to establish some kind of a base or a foothold there on the lunar surface before we even get to that. But you're right. It is a significant source of helium-3. And Joe, I don't know if we'll see much of a bottled moon water market, but I'm not gonna completely deny it because people will buy anything.
I was gonna say, that would sell though. I mean, I don't think we're gonna see that market earlier either, but that would sell to somebody.
I completely believe that people will buy anything because after seeing them buy NFTs, I'm convinced they will buy anything.
That was a good tie-in, actually, back to NFTs. Microsoft trying to go higher. SPY new highs, folks. SPY retesting 650 to the upside now. Massive move higher here in SPY.
JD, if you're kind of referring to the time machine situation, remember that movie where they kind of broke up the moon and it caused all kinds of problems on the Earth? If you're referring to that, we're so far away technologically from even being able to do something like that. I would say, we'd have to drill down into the moon and set off nuclear weapons in order to make something like that happen. I don't know that we're going to cause Earth issues with anything that we're doing on the moon at this stage. It could be decades before we even are able to affect a celestial body that size like that. All right, we're seeing a lot of weakness in some of these oil names now.
Oil up only 10.75%. I understand that sounds weird, up only 10.75%, but it was up more earlier. We are seeing bounces in a lot of stocks here. Izzy's mentioning Ondas. That is straight up out of the gate like some of the other ones here. I know several of you folks are mentioning Lunar. Lion is mentioning Meta. So we're getting a lot of bounces here across the market. SPY still pushing to the upside.
I'll look at Joby, the privacy guy. But yeah, there's so many space names that are moving, I think, off of that announcement of the IPO. People are excited about Starship and SpaceX.
Absolutely, they are.
Not that they were not excited about Artemis and everything, but I was telling Ryan yesterday, because I watched the Artemis launch and I watch every Starship launch, and I said to him, I'm excited that we're going back to the moon. I'm excited that we have a manned crew that made it safely into space and we're on our way and all that. But SpaceX does launches so much better. They look so much cooler. They have so many more cameras. We got a graphical representation of what was happening with the SLS, and I really wanted to see some of the exterior cameras because they had some. But I got to say, SpaceX does launches way better. Man-made moon climate change is real. I didn't know the moon had a climate.
Oh, my goodness. MBIS, by the way, you guys are talking about stuff that's bouncing here. MBIS, look at this ripper. Yes, JD, I did see that kid that was interviewed on CNN. It's been a long time since CNN has put out a good interview, but that one, that was something else. It's not safe for work, so I'm just going to have you go Google that. But I agree with you. That was awesome. Look at MBIS here today. And this was also off of one of our trend lines here. MBIS has kind of been a little bit weak earlier, but look at the bounce off of the trend line here today.
For Joby, it looks like this should be turning around pretty soon, but there's a trend line that we've fallen underneath that I am wondering if we're going to have a hard time recapturing it. I could still see potentially slightly lower prints, maybe down to about $7.15 or $7. I don't know, where the bottom is, and I don't know what it's going to take in order to get back above the trend line. These EV tolls are kind of still in the same boat altogether. They need to start manufacturing these and selling these. They have contracts, but I don't think they've really started to build a whole lot of these. And I might be wrong about that, but I think they're in the manufacturing stage. At least I know that with Archer. Joby, I haven't really kept a close enough tabs on. But just looking at the chart here, the death cross that we had last month, still having its effect. I think that there could still be a slightly more downside, but I wouldn't be convinced that we're going to go a whole lot lower. These companies, they eat cash right now, so we need to start seeing some revenue. And I don't know what the timeline is for revenue on Joby.
Captain Cloudy, love this. SPY could go test yesterday's low. There's a huge resistance there. If it gets there, I might consider puts. Well, first of all, SPY closed yesterday at about 655. The low from the regular session was about 652. 653, I beg your pardon. We're at 650 and a quarter right now. So it looks like you have a pretty significant 2-point resistance area that's about 3 points higher than where we're at. That makes sense in terms of a potential short there. Captain Cloudy, keep us posted on that.
Red wire still climbing. 965 we just hit. There's a seller in the way there. We might come back in a little bit. We'll see.
Trey saying agree. SPY's previous day low is a great spot for a reversal. So there you go.
A lot of these oil names are really starting to. All the energy names we were looking at this morning, the movers really coming in. SOC just lost its 200 EMA battalion. Oil coming down to its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Turbo kind of holding on to theirs right now, but looks like they could lose that as well. TMDE coming down to their 200.
Chicago Realtor, I know you've asked this a few times. I'm sorry. Disney not really at the front of mind here today, but we'll cover this. We'll cover this here. Can I get your thoughts on Disney at this level? My thoughts are very simple. I don't like Disney. This is not something that I would want to own. I just don't really care for the philosophy of the company or the products or the business, frankly. Looking at the chart here, would probably like this a little bit lower. Sure seems like 90 to 85 would be a little bit better of a level here. I would imagine if we do have another yank in the market here and we do pull back to that 10% or maybe even 14% pullback level, I would imagine Disney would not go against that. It would probably trade with it. So ultimately, kind of looking at the chart and the backdrop of where we are in the market, if I were going to add this long, I'd be looking for it a little bit lower than here. I don't think the current sell-off is done.
Do this if you could for me. Create just a box channel, not even a parallel one. Just make a box and have the top end be at 125 and the low end be at 80, and then just extend that in either direction, and that's your consolidation.
Top end at what?
125, low end at 80.
At 80, got it. So you're looking at this.
Yeah. Now, back out some more and just extend that in both directions. That's the consolidation channel we're in. I would say we get down to 80. That's probably a good buy spot, as it has been for years. So take care, Lion. Have a good one. Have a good holiday weekend.
Yep. Enjoy your holiday. And everyone and anyone else that might leave a little bit early, if we don't say goodbye to you, have a great holiday. Here's that area 13. So now that we've overlaid this Chicago Realtor, I feel the same. I would want this towards the lower end of this range, and that's closer to 80.
So that's a consolidation channel I've got here. Disney has been so back and forth. It can't seem like they can get out of their own way with their their agenda. So maybe with the CEO leaving, that might bring some new life into the company. But for now, it's I think we could see more of this sideways price action. So that's where I'm at with Disney.
Wiss says it's a good day for golf tomorrow. Wiss, let me just share this real quick. Since I realized I had Friday off, I thought to myself, yes, we're getting out. We might go early. We might be one of the first ones out on the course. The weather here in Chicago, it had different plans. It is going to be cold, maybe even a little bit rainy, but I'm going to hit the sim instead. Go low, buddy. Go low.
JEF prints money, and I think it's looking pretty attractive. Any thoughts? Let's take a look. This is Jeff Brands.
This is Jefferies Financial Group.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
JFBR, I believe, is Jeff Brands.
Thank you.
And now that Lion's gone for the weekend, we can talk about it because it's considered a junk stock. Wink, wink.
You want all the smoke today, don't you?
Oh, I want all of it. It's Thursday. It's a synthetic Friday. We out here having a good time. We just launched a crewed mission to Mars. Give me the smoke.
So when it comes to Jefferies Financial, there's this trend line that I've got here that we've lost at the beginning of this month, maybe at the end of February. And I would think that if we cannot recapture it, that means we need to get back over 45. We're going to see a rejection that could take us lower. That's just where I'm at with this right now. There's if you want to draw the trend line yourself, go to a daily chart and start with the low from June of 2022 and draw it through the lows of 23 and 25.
Okay, I think I can do that here. Here's the lows of 22. Got it. Through the lows of 23, which are right here.
Yeah.
Okay, are you gonna? I mean, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, TradeView needs to get their thing together.
There we go. And then this is the one from 25. Yep. There we go.
So we could come back up and test that trend line as resistance. And if we can't recapture it, then we're going to see a reversal. And I think that we could head lower. So that's where I'm at with this one. Need to get back above that trend line.
I didn't leave yet, Ryan. I stayed a couple of minutes to see if you were going to talk smack. Well, take that.
He got you good.
But aside, all jokes aside, good luck to your son on the track meet and have a good time at that. Those are always exciting times.
So, we mentioned like a lot of the opticals are up. There's already a mention in the chat about AAOI going higher. We hit just now 782, almost 783 in light. This thing is just flying. Lots of great upside moves here in some of these other names that aren't necessarily related to gas and oil.
Looks like that big kind of bounce is kind of slowed down a little bit. SPY retesting 650 does look like it's trying to go through it, but Netflix is actually curling back up. We'll see if 96.50 falls there. Ondas up near the highs. NBIS still strong. Tesla's trying to close its gap off. Even PayPal is somewhat strong here today. Amazon maybe approaching 210. Izzy, let me know what you think on Amazon if it gets above that.
Hey, thinking about it, Black Sky is one of the names I have on my space watch list. You don't now got to keep telling me. I know this is a good one. That's coming back up. Maybe a 30 break if we can close over 30 consistently. I think that's going to be probably one of the things that takes us higher.
What's the ticker?
BKSY.
BKSY. I had BSKY. No wonder.
And if we do get that break over 30, I have 35. Basically, every $5 there's a resistance area on the way up, and this could keep climbing. Maybe we get up to 60, and that's where the resistance really starts to kick in. But and that would be a 2x move from right here. So $30, big resistance area. If we get through that, we could see some further upside. But I'm okay. I get you. I get you thinking about it.
Izzy, congrats. Your son 3 for 3. That's a really good first game. On his way to the show. Good stuff. And then Jay mentioning Micron with a big move here. 21-point move off the lows. Boy, 22 now, Jay. Wow.
Where did we end up? So did we see? That's a 5-minute. Where did we end up going down to out of the gate here?
The intraday low from today, 13,339 and change.
Okay, so we were kind of getting that same support that we were getting yesterday in the pre-market.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a bit of a level there. If we come back in, look for some support from 340. I don't know if it'll hold up, but that's already telling you that there's some buyers there. All right. What's the market doing now? Are we starting to get a loss of volume? Looks like AMPX wants to recapture that 200 EMA. Velo 3D had a good morning. Got support from 9. Didn't quite get up to 10 though. This came up to some of the highs from yesterday.
Sky Q has come back in, so it looks like that upside run is done. It is finding some support here at the 65 EMA, but
yeah,
looks like some of the juice is gone from that.
Maybe this one trades a little bit better in the afternoon. I don't know. I get the sense that some of these might try to another trade again today, but as long as nobody's holding anything overnight, I think you'll be fine. There's a tremendous amount of risk holding, I say overnight, over the weekend. This is a lot of risk going over the weekend with any developments that could happen. We have economic data coming tomorrow that could, shift markets around. So just play it safe is what I would be thinking.
NBIS, Ondas still strong. Palantir still strong. And what a bounce on some of these names. What a bounce on some of these names.
Happy Easter, Marty.
Happy Eastman Kodak.
MDA, IPO. So I think we looked at this one before, didn't we? MDA. What is this one about again? Is this another space name? MDA space. Okay. Let's see. Do I have this on my watch list?
Developer and manufacturer of technology and services to the space industry. It's an international space mission partner and robotics, satellite systems, and geointelligence pioneer.
Okay,
Communication sats, Earth and space observation, space exploration, and infrastructure. That seems like that's going to be at the heart of the space theme.
Yeah, but I think this is going from. I don't think this IPO. I think this, and I might be wrong, but I think this was from OTC.
Well, it's a Canadian-based company.
Right.
So, and it derives most of its revenue from Canada.
Okay, but I think this was originally trading as MDALF, and now it's ticker MDA. So I think they went from, because we can't, the Canadian market's the TSE. We don't have that. So in order to trade some of these international names, we have to do it OTC. But I think what happened here, and I'll double check this, but I think what happened is that this was an OTC stock, and now it's on the trading on one of the other exchanges. Let me look here real quick.
Okay. So Jay, you said it sounds good to you. You're expecting coverage. So I would imagine that you just expect this higher, right? Yeah, I don't think you have an idea necessarily. Maybe you do what that coverage is going to be, but you're expecting analyst coverage that should be a positive tailwind for the stock. And as a result, you like this higher here. This is a good call ahead of that for anyone that wants to try it.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened here, because if you go to MDALF, it says it's MDA space LTD, which is what MDA is. Has to be the same company. I think it just.
So it was an uplist then from the bulletin boards. Okay.
It was uplisted. Yep, that's what I think has happened here, and it's one of the names that I've had on my list, but now I know why I haven't seen any price action out of that, because it's been uplisted. So I'm going to change that now. Get rid of you. Add MDA.
Look at Swarmer. This was a great move here today. I wish I traded this one here. Honestly, this is one of the better moves. Congrats to anyone that was on Swarmer here today.
March IPO, but it's okay. Yeah, It's the same company. It used to be OTC, so whatever it did, it's no longer OTC. Going to be a late day sell-off, probably. Um,
5 minutes left here for us today.
Yeah.
SPY's still at the highs. Futures look like they're still trying to truck higher.
Light tickling 800.
It's tickling.
Yeah, with that one little wick up there. Tickle wick.
A tickle wick. Boy, this is going to get out of control real fast.
Any levels on INTC?
50, right? That's still the big one. We're almost there.
Well, we hit it, I think, already.
Yeah, we did. And look what else we did. We hit the trend line. So we had a trend line connecting some of these highs, minus the one that happened in January. We basically bounced right off of that.
Yeah, so
take care of yourself, Chicago Realtor. Great to see you again. And I hope that this spring's home selling season is robust for you.
Yeah, there could, I still think there, what was I mentioning yesterday? Like 51, 52. I think I have some notes on here. INTC. So the company took off today and reports the company is spending $14.2 billion to buy back 49% stake in the AI chip fab 34 plant in Ireland from APO. 50 to 52 continues to be a resistance area for the stock. That was my levels I gave yesterday, so it's still looking like that's the case today. And I kind of would lean on that. If we can't get back above 52, then we're probably just going to come back in a little bit. I think that's how it's going to be. 52 is my range of resistance. Okay. Perfect.
And by the way, Jay, I don't know what your experience is. Grok has been great. Because I have a paid subscription to Grok, it's not actually just to Grok, but it's to X, so I can have X Pro and all of those bonus features there. I actually set Grok up to deliver me a market report at 5 a.m. every day where it looks at what news has affected the futures market from the close the day prior. And it's excellent. I'm halfway through my first cup of coffee and I'm having everything delivered to me every single day on what the market is doing. And that's in addition to some of its really helpful answers.
So I know this is one we traded yesterday, and it's nowhere near as attractive as some of these other movers. But TH, the one I kept joking about yesterday, is approaching the highs from yesterday. And I'm wondering, is this going to get rejected here or break out? Now, the volume would suggest that we might not move a whole lot higher. We could get rejected. But it's just kind of interesting to see this, what it looks to me like a bit of an ascending triangle pattern since yesterday. If you look at the 5-minute chart, I think that's kind of what I would be viewing it as.
Oh yeah.
So there may be something here. We just kind of, there it is. Now we're moving.
Popped right about. All you had to do was encourage it. 13. That's it.
And it's moving now. That's funny. Oh, Mike, you're funny. Swarmer has some ridiculous tickle wicks.
Yassine says Swarmer per our happy hour discussion.
Yeah. And then the privacy guy wants me to give him some thoughts on SoFi.
You'd be hurry up with it because we're almost out of time here. You'd be extremely proud though, because this morning in the stocks to watch, Target Hospitality was the last one on the list. And while I was going through the read midway, I was like, should I go? But I opted not to. You would have been really proud of me though. All right, get in there with SoFi, then we'll wrap this 13.
Okay, so it's still needing to recapture this 500-day SMA. You have other smaller moving averages bearing down on it. This thing is kind of oversold, but I don't think it could. It's going to reverse quite yet. It could still head lower. If we do end up getting that, a level that I'd be keeping an eye on is maybe $13. But it looks like 14 could provide some support as well. In any event, it looks like this is still needs to recapture the 500-day SMA. So that has to be the next thing that has to happen here, or I think we can go lower.
Okay. All right, 13, we are out of time here for today. Any closing words for the group? Remember, we are off tomorrow with the market being closed in observance of Good Friday. We will be back on Monday. And also, as a reminder, Monday and Tuesday are the only days that we have the morning show next week. So we're going to take a 3-day hiatus for work obligations, but we will be back the following Monday. 13, any closing words for the group?
Have a happy holidays, everybody. Enjoy your Good Friday, your Easter, if you celebrate. And we'll be back to here on Monday with more
Passover
trades.
if you celebrate.
And yeah, all that. And have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And take care of yourselves and say hi to your family and love them and all those good times. So take care. See you Monday. Goodbye.
All right. Really good stuff there, 13. As always here. And yeah, the privacy guy, this is what we say every day. I'm going to amend it a little bit. Folks, good stuff here this week. It's been a wild one. We're expecting more wild ones ahead. I can't wait to trade it with you, cover the news with you going forward. Like the privacy guy says here, producer, what the hell are you doing? Like the privacy guy says here, stay safe, stay green. Like I say, stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll catch you.